What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If you have been following along with me for a long time, or really any amount of time, you would know I have worn just about every tool belt out there, every brand. And let me tell you, there are some good tool belts. I've really enjoyed them, but every one of them was like almost to 100%, okay? I decided it was finally time. I'm gonna design a tool belt that I can take as close to 100%, and it's thought out, designed, and culminated from the last 20 some years of me wearing a tool belt, working out in the field every day, and that is the FrameRR, the RR Buildings tool belt that you see me wearing right here. Now, I'm not gonna say it's perfect because nothing ever is, but I can promise you I did my best to think it out for the most efficient use, the most comfortable to wear all day, get the most amount of stuff in here without feeling like you're weighted down, and just go out and do your job, build something without having to constantly grab a new bag, attach a bag, go back to the trailer, grab another tool because you can't fit it in your pouch. I want to be efficient, but I also want to be comfortable, so there's a fine line, and that's what I think I did with this tool bag. So for this video, what I want to do is, kind of tell you a little bit about the process, what it took to get these, and then also what these bags are all about. And obviously I want you to take a look at the website, give it a chance if you're in the market for a tool belt right now until December 1st of 2025. So depending on when you watch this video, I'm doing a $50 off promo for both Black Friday, and because this is a new product, new release, I'm super excited and I want to get it into as many hands as possible for those first people that are willing to support it, give it a try, and hopefully give me feedback on what we can, if there's something I can do better, because obviously I'm not perfect and nothing is. So these bags started over a year ago. I actually met with a guy who owns a company who has access to building and making just about anything. Now, I know I'm gonna get the question, are they USA made? No, they're not made in the USA, because that's a really hard thing to do in this industry, and to do it with this level of quality and price to get you guys the best product for that best price. But the good thing is we designed it. We spent all the time here in the United States coming up with it. It's no different than maybe the telephone that you're watching this video on, or the TV that you're watching it on. It was probably designed in America, for those of you that are really concerned about that, but most likely it was made somewhere overseas in a factory that specializes in that and has been specializing in that for a long time. So with that being said, I would love Made in America. That stamp would be great. It's just not very feasible in this industry doing what I did. And to be honest, I'm really happy with the quality. I'm happy with everything about this tool belt. Otherwise, I would not be putting it out to you guys, and that is a fact I can promise you. About a year ago, I started on the design. I basically wrote out a whole bunch of things that I wanted. I then showed tons of pictures. I took all the belts that I really did like, the things that I liked about them, the things I didn't like about them, and that is what kind of culminated into the first prototype. So it took about probably 9 months or so to get to the first prototype. I had those prototypes and wore those for a while, instantly knew there were things that I didn't like because there just was a translation mix up on what I wanted versus what the factory thought I wanted. We got that fixed, made the second prototype. We were like 85% there. I made those small changes. The factory took what I said, and then we came up with the production belt that I'm wearing today that you guys can definitely purchase. I would love for you to purchase and give a go. But I just want to say everything about this belt for me was thought out from an efficiency standpoint, because I'm very aware that when you're on the job site, time is everything. It's not just on the job site, it's in life. None of us have enough time, and every little tiny second helps. And the things that we don't think are a big deal, when you add them up, they become a bigger deal. Like where you reach into your tool belt, or what tools you can have in your tool belt or don't have that require you to go back to your tool trailer or truck or shop or whatever to grab them. So I wanted to think about, selfishly, I wanted to think about me and what I do every day and how I can make a tool belt that is going to make me as efficient as possible. and that's what I came up with. So without further ado, let's go through this. I'll do a quick little rundown of what the bags are, what's in my bags, kind of my everyday carry, and show you guys some of those features. So let's go ahead and start with the dominant side first. For me, that's my right hand, and I already know it. I'm gonna get a lot of comments. Hey, do you have a left hand dominant version? And that is the goal. Unfortunately, it's hard to do all that at first. I wanted to get proof of concept out to the market. I wanted to get the feedback from everybody without having tons of different things out there and then realize I messed something up and I need to change it. So for right now, it's a right hand dominant pouch, but yes, we will come to the market with a left hand dominant pouch, which is basically gonna be a mirror of these bag setup, okay? So on the dominant side, I'm a big hammer holster guy. So I guess if you don't want it, you could remove it, but it is part of the belt system as is. It is also, you can adjust it. So depending on where you like the angle of your hammer, there is a web on the back that you can adjust. Here on the front, we've got a spot. I like having a drill handy, or a framing nailer, or a trim nailer, or maybe even a guy that likes to mount his tape measure. That's all right here on this little webbing. It's a nice stiff piece of webbing, so it's gonna be durable, and it's not super loose, so this shouldn't be coming off. As well as when I designed this little pencil, knife, tool holder is not connected directly to the bag, so it has some flexibility to move around, so that when you're moving around, if you're going up a ladder, if you're leaning over, it helps keep your tool on the loop instead of getting knocked and fall off, okay? So that's the first part there. When we move to the main pouch here in the middle, this is another place that I decided I wanted to do a little bit of custom, because I do like having some additional like spots for tools, but I don't like having my big main pouch cut up with a bunch of different pouches. I want it pretty much simple. I use my snips a lot, and I'm sure there is a tool that you guys use a lot that you normally have in your pouch. And so what I did was I have a piece of kind of flexible webbing that is also a pretty durable material that goes here in the front, and it can hold your tool right where you want it. For me, it's my snips, because I'm always reaching in and grabbing them to cut some metal trims. But if you don't want that piece of webbing, it does tuck in along the side of your pouch if you're just gonna utilize this as a bigger pouch for some other tool. I don't know what that would be, but everybody works with their pouches a little bit different. I like to take my Midwest snips, I can put them both in there, and it keeps them ready for me when I need them. Otherwise, I've got some webbing around the outside for bits that I don't use all the time, some longer bits typically, extension bits, stuff like that. And then up against the my hip here, I've got some webbing where I can put some other things, like here I've got a fat Sharpie, I've got my Martinez Glazer bar, pry bar, we use that a lot for trims, and I've got a Pica pencil back here. So other than that, you can put a lot of fasteners and things down in the bottom if that's what you want to do, or screwdrivers, chisels, whatever. But that's how I use my main pouch. And then here on the front pouch, we've got a pretty good sized pouch that you can definitely store some stuff in. I usually keep my Tajima chalk line in there, as well as probably some like trim nails, things like that for doing metal flashings or whatever. You can definitely fit some fasteners underneath a tool like that. And then on the back, we've got a spot to put a cat's paw. So it sleeves in there real nice. And if you don't want it on this side, you can utilize these little webs for hooking or mounting a drill or whatever. And I did put a sleeve here on this side where you can also put a cat's paw. It's not gonna go anywhere. It's a lot easier to get out, but for me, I like it being secure. I don't want it flopping around on me because I don't use it all the time. In fact, if I'm pulling this out, it's probably because I gotta pull a nail, I made a mistake. And then finally on my dominant side, I've got the pouch up here where I like to keep my hearing protection, random other bits, and then I've got some webs here that I can put my more commonly used bits, so I can just grab them, boom, replace them, and keep going about my day. Okay, so that's the dominant side. Non-dominant side, one of the things that I really didn't like about a lot of tool belts is that I'm a guy that likes to put his tape measure in a pocket, okay? I want it right here so I can just easily grab it. And a lot of these tape measure spots were just not fitted right. They just didn't make sense. And I wanted something that I could both use a smaller, this is my 26-foot Stabila, or something larger. This is my 35-foot Milwaukee stud. And I can take this guy and it fits in there and it doesn't fall out, but also I can put the 26-footer in there and it tucks in there really nice. So easy access to your tape measure. And if you're a guy that wants to clip your tape measure on, I mean, you can still do that wherever you want. Almost all of these lips are pretty darn sturdy and rigid, but flexible at the same time, so that you could clip a tape on somewhere if you wanted to. I don't know, I'm not much of that type of guy. I guess you could also just go on your belt. Tape measure spot was pretty important to me, and I thought, why not add a couple more spots for some bits? It just seems like I'm always missing that one bit, so I'm gonna make a place for every bit that I own. Moving down, we've got the main pouch here that is quite large. I can fit my hand no problem, even if I'm grabbing a whole handful of fasteners. Easy to fill your pouch, easy to get them out. And then my 7-inch Martinez, I've got a web, okay? This is another thing, instead of a pocket that this goes into, which is common on a lot of other tool belts, that pocket for me would always get filled with garbage. A random tool or a bit or something would go in there, and then I would almost forget about it until I went to go clean my tool bags out. They were full of dirt, dust, and little, nails or whatever. This is just a web. So this web is just nice and tight here, and your square slides right in there, hold it against your hip instead of just dangling around in your pocket, always in your way, and it's right there where you need it. Once again, thinking about efficiency, I never have to guess where the square is. It's always gonna be right here. It's not gonna be like, oh wait, where is it? Oh, it's over here in my pouch. No, it's always gonna be right here. I did the same thing here in the front because I like to keep my mini Martinez here, the micro. So I've got a little web right there that holds it right up against the front of the pouch, so I still have access to fasteners right here. So these are my two main fastener pouches. And then here in the back, I can keep, like, this is my Stabila LDM. I'll have this on me. A lot of times, always punching things. And I thought I had, oh yeah, here we go. I did have just a random squeegee, because you always gotta squeegee the tape that you're using, and we always seem to be taping stuff. So that's kind of the rundown of the pouches, guys. So that's how I use them. You can purchase these pouches with a set of suspenders. I'm not a suspender guy 9 months out of the year, but those winter months when I put hoodies, coats, bibs, all that stuff on and I'm freezing outside, I don't like to have to scrunch my tool belt around me because it just gets really uncomfortable. And the suspenders help me take the weight off so I can just have a loose belt, but still have the support here holding up all my tools on me. So yeah, 6-inch belt, by the way. So I went with the 6-inch. I was always a big fan of the Diamondback 6-inch. So I modeled that size because I think it gives you the most support so that you can go through your day carrying this weight and still be comfortable, not develop back problems at the end of the day. This tool belt also has a nice quick release. So that's nice. And then, oh yeah, one more thing that always bothered me is it was almost impossible to find a belt that unless you were doing like the old leather belts, you cinched it down and then stuck the little pin through the hole. With these types of belts, they almost always loosen up. So what we did was we added Velcro here on the end of my extra webbing. So as I tighten the belt up, I can tighten and Velcro it to my belt. Now it's not gonna go anywhere. And it's very easy to just unvelcro, loosen it up come wintertime when you're putting more gear on. So I tried thinking through all the things that I liked and disliked about the different tool belts. I wanted to put it all together in one belt, and I wanted it to be affordable. Everything is getting expensive, and trust me, I wanted this to be as cheap as possible. So I think we've done it. I think we made a heck of a tool belt, one that would rival any other belt out there on the market, and I challenge you guys to give it a try. Provide feedback to me. I am open to looking at ways to improve this, to improve the system, to come out with version 2.0, 3.0, bring a lefty dominant version, maybe even some accessories. I think, there's so many options, and the most important part is I'm a guy that works every day in his tool belt. So everything I did to design this was thought through the lens of a guy on a site that's working and you want to be efficient and you want to go home comfortable. You don't want to be in pain. You don't want it to cost $1 million, but you want it to last a really long time. So finding the balance to all those things and putting it into this tool belt, I'm very proud of it. I can't wait to start hearing the feedback from people that are, purchasing it, spending their hard-earned money. Trust me, I really appreciate it. It humbles me to think that I have the opportunity to get this out to the market, to you guys, and I hope you love it as much as I do. And make sure that you use the code BF50 if you're buying this before December 1st to get $50 off, because I promise you we probably won't have that deal, if ever again, often, okay? So get your hands on one. Let me know what you think. If you're on social media and you post things, I'd love to see how you set yours up. Post it, tag me in it. I'd love to reshare it. Let's just shake up the tool belt market, and I can't wait to hear your guys' feedback. And once again, I really greatly appreciate your support. And yeah, RR Buildings, FrameRR tool belt, couldn't be happier. Thank you guys so much for your support. We'll catch you guys on the next build video. I'll put the link down below where you can go and pre-order yourself one of the RR Buildings FrameRR tool belts.